Rethinking your personal beliefs and values. Jupiter retrograde September 4th until December 31st, 2023. So Jupiter is often referred to as the planet of expansion, growth, abundance. It offers opportunity. It represents our capacity for higher learning, for wisdom, spirituality, and luck. As Jupiter moves through the zodiac, its location encourages us to seek new experiences, broaden our horizons, and embrace a positive outlook on life. It covers your topics of your beliefs, your philosophies, and your aspirations. Now, Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign that's ruled by the planet Venus. Now, this is important because Venus just stationed direct in the sign of Leo. Taurus is associated with stability, material comfort, sensuality, practicality. Taurus values all security, possessions, the pleasures of this physical world. It's known for its patience, determination, and its location in your chart shows you where you have the ability to build and sustain. So Jupiter moves into Taurus on May 16th, and it was pushing us into this new direction due to it was being activated by the North Node and the planet Uranus. Now, this is an area of your life that has completely changed and expanded in ways that are beyond what you've even imagined. So what does this offer us? Well, Jupiter in Taurus, it brings us financial growth, it brings us stability, it represents your investments, your savings, it's about you building wealth, it's where you look to find opportunities to increase your income or to improve in your financial situation. It's because it's associated with your material comfort, it's about your pleasures in life, so you can enhance your enjoyment in life's luxuries. When it's moving direct, the focus is for you to indulge on the finer things in life and on your physical well-being. This also is a period of encouraging you for steady and deliberate progress. It's not about quick changes or taking unnecessary risks, but rather patiently working towards your goals and building a solid foundation in your life. Now, Jupiter stationing retrograde in the sign of Taurus is an opportunity to stop and integrate all that has changed in your life. Things have been moving forward at such a quickened pace, and now's the time for an intentional pause. Now's the time for expansion, but it becomes one of internal, one for introspection and reflection regarding the areas and themes of your life that have been expanding. So a pause in retrograde is for you to reevaluate and seek expansion or fulfillment. So in retrograde, this is going to be a time for you to take your time with a pause to look within, evaluate your beliefs, your values, your aspirations. These can include topics from everything from your personal finances, comfort, your stability. It's going to be an opportunity that you're going to want to go back and refine your goals and your personal values. It's going to be a good time to review your financial strategies, your investments. Are they in line with your long-term goals? Do you need to make adjustments or reconsider certain financial decisions due to these changes that have been occurring in your life? Who or what are you invested in? Remember that it's about seeing the bigger picture, and you have had many opportunities at this point. So where are you going to invest in? Who are you going to invest in? This could be friends, groups, or it can also include partners that you are working with. Now, retrogrades in general, they're a time to slow down and reconsider your path. This is especially true to the practical and material realm of the sign of Taurus. So during this retrograde, take time to pause before you make these important decisions. Are you taking classes? Are you taking workshops? Are you publishing work? Are you traveling and connecting with people from different places and different values? Remember that it's foreign people, places, and things. And so this is going to be a time to go back, to reconnect to those, to dive back into that class or that book or that workshop, to find the nuggets that maybe you've missed. Now, since Taurus is associated with financial stability and material comfort, during this retrograde, I'm encouraging you to take a closer look at your financial situations. This is going to be a really good time for you to consider budgeting, your investments, your long-term financial goals. Are your financial strategies aligned with your true values and your needs? Taurus, being the sign of the bull, is known for its patient and steady approach to achieving goals. So Jupiter's retrograde period is going to encourage you to reevaluate what do you consider to be your personal foundations in your life. Whether it's your personal life or your business endeavors, consider if you've built a solid and sustainable base upon which you can now expand your future on. Because now you have this opportunity to go back and tweak those things in order before you move forward with them. Jupiter represents wisdom, higher knowledge. So in Taurus, this wisdom is going to be grounded. It's about you seeking practical. During this retrograde, you are going to want to deepen your understanding of practical matters such as your management, your investments, your tangible resources, your home. It's going to be a good time for you to be learning about what's going on in these areas of your life. Maybe you take a pause on learning something new and process what you've already gathered. At this time, expansion is going to be more internalized, so these new opportunities that you might be seeking may not present themselves as openly or as rapidly if we had Jupiter's direct motion. So it's a time for you to be patiently preparing for your future growth. So how do you use this work and this energy? I have 4 strategies for you to focus on. The first is self-reflection, taking time to contemplate on what are your values, because they've changed over this past year. What are your goals? What are your financial strategies? Especially in relationship to your friends, your partners, your finances, your material pursuits. Are these things in harmony with your long-term vision? The second is financial planning. Review your financial situation, review your budget, your investments, look at your goals, budget, managing debt, exploring investment opportunities. Make the necessary adjustments to ensure that you have this long-term security and growth so you can incorporate new growth opportunities with what has changed and evolved in your life. The third is for you to have embracing the patient and persistent energy of Taurus to work steadily towards your new objectives. Remember that Mercury is still retrograde, so take this time to review these topics in your life. And the fourth is to enjoy life's pleasures, because with Venus now stationing direct, while you're practical and responsible, it's not a time for you to forget to enjoy life's pleasures and comforts. This is going to be a time that you're also going to want to treat yourself, to indulge sensibly. So at this time, reflect on who you are and how you've grown, how your decisions can support your future growth. Where are you going back in order to move forward to gain the clarity on what needs to end in this Jupiter and Taurus retrograde? It's inviting you to reevaluate your values, your finances, your foundations with practical and a patient mindset. To focus on your financial stability, your material comfort, and your personal growth with friends, social circles, networks. It's going to be a time that you're going to want to balance your practicality with a long-term vision and to make well thought out decisions regarding your finances and your values. For you to create this solid foundation, to trust and take this leap of faith, because that's what Jupiter is. It's having faith in something beyond what you can see. It's trust in the unknown future, because great things are manifesting, and it's about moving forward with trust in what is beyond that. Hi, I'm your astrologer, Patricia Tate, and this is your Jupiter and Taurus retrograde forecast for all 12 signs. So for Aries Sun and Aries Rising, Whenever a planet changes direction, its influence is emphasized. So we're starting off with Jupiter stationing retrograde. Jupiter is ruled by the planet of Venus. Venus is the what we love, who we love. And so just hours after Venus goes direct, Jupiter stations retrograde, which means that Venus themes are now going to gain this forward momentum, while Jupiter's themes are now going to take a back seat where you're going to be focused more inward. So you're now going to care less on what other people think and more about what gives you pleasure, your Venus. So this is going to be a time where you're going to reevaluate your beliefs. That's Jupiter in your second house of your cash, your property, your self-worth. And you're also going to be focused on your personal values that shape your beliefs. You're going to have this sense of clarity and purpose. When society's beliefs shape your personal values, you feel lost and unmotivated. That's why we want to start with your Venus, your values. So we have Venus just now stationing direct in your fifth house of children, childlike activities, art, music, creativity, your investments, your love affairs. That moving direct is, okay, this is my focus. I want to talk about all the other planets that are retrograde. We have Mercury retrograde in your sixth house of your balance between your work and your home. It's your job, it's your workplace, but it's also about guides and mentors. It's also the house of your physical, mental, spiritual health, well-being, having you go back over how do I balance my home and my work? How do I go back and am I taking as good of care of myself as I should? We also have Pluto at the top of your chart in your career sector. And this is highlighting your career, your public life, your life path. It's about your legacy of things that you want to leave behind. You're also reevaluating Saturn. Saturn in the sign of Pisces in your 12th house of I need to have some stability. I need to have some boundaries. And we have Neptune in retrograde in your 12th house. Remember that your 12th house is your connection to the spiritual realm. It's your intuition. It's your dreams. It's your subconscious mind. It's shamanic work. It's your shadow self. And so all of this backwards energy has you rethinking, reevaluating, going back into what are your personal dreams? Where do you need to have boundaries? How do you balance your home and your work? How do you communicate this? And Venus, what do you love? Who do you love? How do you love this? Like, what do I want to move forward with? With Jupiter stationing retrograde, Jupiter is having you go back and say, I need to focus on my personal money, my personal finances, my skills, my salary, my income, my possessions, my values, my opinions, my talents, my personal resources. Who do I love? Who do I value? The second house is the house of not just like how you are like seen in the world with your personal resources, but it's what do you value? And so you are looking at your 12th house themes of I need to have some boundaries. I need to follow my intuition. The Pluto with I need to have this balance between my work, my home. I need to build something that's sustainable. My Mercury with going back and I need to focus on this balance between home and work, because otherwise, if I don't pay attention to my intuition, my 12th house themes, my health suffers because of this. There's this beautiful trine that goes from your career to your 6th house of health and the balance, and your 2nd house of your self-worth. All of this is saying, keep this in balance. Keep this, like, go within and say, okay, what are your new beliefs? Are you putting forth too much effort at work? Do you have a shift in your social circles? Do you have a shift in who do you value? What do you value? Your Venus here in your 5th house is highly, it's illuminating your relationship with children. It's your investments, it's affairs, it's art, it's music, and it's you saying, I need to make time to bring more joy to my life. And how do I do that? I prioritize who's of the most value that I'm going to spend my time with. And when I'm spending time at work, I'm working at work and I'm making these connections that could benefit me for my career, my public life, my life path. Using this Mercury retrograde to your benefit of going back and reconnecting with things that have to do with your health. The sun in the sign of Virgo is, I need to be structured, I need to be organized, I need to learn how to multitask, and I need to take things down to the bare bones of what have I harvested, so I can turn around and say, what do I really need? And get rid of the excess, because I want to move forward with things that are more clarity, more purpose. I want to have what's of a personal value to me. I want to start with, what are my new beliefs? I want to be, does this reflect my personal values? So for more on the upcoming months, please check out September and October horoscope videos to plan ahead. Also, you can watch Destiny and Fate for your nodal shifts in your life. To hear updates as soon as they're released, Aries, please subscribe. So for Taurus Sun and Taurus Rising, Jupiter stationing retrograde is in your first house of self. So remember that whenever a planet stations retrograde, it's right beforehand, it is very emphasized. The energy of it is. And so what's worth noting is that Jupiter stationing retrograde happens just hours after Venus goes direct. Venus is in your fourth house of home, family, relationships, your home environment. It's your ancestors, it's your foundation. So those are topics that are highlighted for you right now. Jupiter stationing retrograde with Venus going direct means that the Venus themes in your life are going to gain this forward momentum, while Jupiter's now going to take this backseat. You're now going to care less about what other people think and more about what gives you pleasure with your home, your family. This is going to be a time that you're going to reevaluate your beliefs in yourself, the things that have changed, and how you see yourself changing, and whether it's a reflection of your personal values, Venus. Now, when a person's personal values shape our beliefs, you have this sense of clarity and purpose. And when society's beliefs shape our personal values, we feel lost and unmotivated. So that's why we're going to start with Venus and your values. So Venus moving direct with your home, your family, your roots, your foundation, that's going to be part of the core of this Jupiter retrograde. So Jupiter's retrograde in your first house. Remember, the first house is your personal appearance. It's yourself. It's your habits, your desires. It's yourself. It's your image of yourself. It's your opinion. It's your expression. It's how people see you. This could be your happiness, your health, your vitality. It's literally what you are presenting to the world, and it's your individuality and it's your identity. And these two houses are going to be linked with you going back inward to incorporate all these new changes that have happened to you. I want to bring in all of the retrograde planets to show you what you are focusing on to go back and refigure and restructure. So we have Mercury in your fifth house. Mercury is the messenger of the gods. It's the way that you communicate and travel. And so in the fifth house, it's children, being childlike, art, music, creativity, gambling. It's love affairs, it's your investments. And so definitely you're going to be going back over these areas and looking at them with a fine-tooth comb. You also have Pluto in Capricorn in your ninth house of wanting to travel, wanting to publish things, taking classes, taking workshops. All of this has to do with you and how it's changed you. We have Saturn in the sign of Pisces in your 11th house of your personal hopes, wishes, dreams, and the social circles that you connect with, and Neptune, where it wants to be, in the sign of Pisces, also stationed retrograde, having you go back and think about, what are my dreams? What are my hopes? Where do I need to have these boundaries? That's your 11th house. Pluto, a great transformation due to some kind of class that you've taken or people that you've connected with, a form of spirituality where you've either taken classes or whether you're teaching something. Your fifth house themes of how do I communicate this? Where am I going back over? Who am I now connected with? How does this change me? How does these connections of where do I want to jump in and now create something new? Remember that the fifth house is not just of children, but it's creation in general of projects. Now, all of this links back to Jupiter in Taurus, your first house of self. All of this inward is taking all of this energy and saying, okay, I know I need to have some boundaries. I know I need to set these goals. I have had all this change that has to do with the identity of who I am and partnerships. This changes what my home life looks like. It changes how I feel about my foundation, my structure of what do I need in order to move forward. All of this brings into account where you're going to be internalizing in order to change and evolve who you are now becoming. Because Jupiter is taking this back seat. It's you internalizing all of this information and saying, wow, I've moved forward in all of these areas. And before I move forward again, I need to make it solid. I need to internalize. Do I have these strong boundaries? Am I paying attention to what are my goals, my hopes, my wishes? And am I just tagging on to somebody else's for the ride? Or am I connected with people that are going to help and support me in this? Because Mercury has you going back over these connections that you have of where do you find pleasure? Where do you find joy? You're going to be reevaluating your beliefs, reevaluating who you bring into your inner circle. What are your personal values that shape you? This is going to be a beautiful time that you're going to be able to find your clarity and your purpose of who you are in order for you to move forward. Because up till this point, you've allowed society's belief to kind of shape and form you, and now you're kind of cracking out and breaking free into a liberation of who are you. Now the nodes are activating your 12th house and your 6th house, and so the 12th house is you focusing in on your intuition, your dreams, your spiritual realm, your subconscious mind, your shamanic work. The 12th house is where I go within in order to receive downloads and information of where I need to go in order to trust my inner guidance. So for more on the upcoming month's forecast, please check out September and October horoscope videos to plan ahead. And you can also watch Destiny and Fate for your nodal shifts of your life. To hear updates as soon as they're released, Taurus, please subscribe. So for Gemini and Gemini rising, Jupiter in Taurus is in your 12th house. So whenever a planet changes directions, its influence is emphasized. So what's worth noting about this is that Jupiter stations retrograde just hours after Venus goes direct. Venus is in your 3rd house of the way that you communicate. It's your learning style. It's your 3rd house of your relationship with your siblings, your neighbors. It's communication, it's changes, it's fluctuations, it's writing, journaling, taking classes, taking workshops. It's basically what is happening around your home or in your immediate environment. So Jupiter stationing retrograde after Venus goes direct and having this forward momentum. This is more about Venus taking the lead and Jupiter taking a back seat. We're now going to care more about what brings you pleasure, what brings you joy, and less about what other people think. You're going to reevaluate your beliefs, your Jupiter things. This is your 12th house themes of your intuition, your dreams. You're going to reevaluate these beliefs and you're going to check to see inwardly, are these a reflection of your personal values, your Venus? You're going to be looking at your reflection of these things, and you're going to be deciding, do your personal values shape your beliefs, and is this offering you clarity and purpose to move forward with? Because when society's beliefs shape your personal values, you feel lost and unmotivated. And that's why we're going to start with Venus values beliefs. And so we have Jupiter, this expansive planet in your 12th house of your dreams, your intuition. You have been spot on. You have had all these downloads of you connecting to the spiritual realm. This has also been big with you clearing out karma, you clearing out self-sabotage. It's also revealed things that have needed to be aired in order to move forward and heal from them. Remember that the 12th house is the personal unconscious or the subconscious mind. It's about your dreams, your intuition. And so you have had these major expansive opportunities. And now you're going to take a moment to say, how do I integrate all of this in order for it to bring clarity to me? So I want to look at Mercury is in your 4th house. So Mercury stationed retrograde in your 4th house. Remember, the 4th house is your home, your family, your roots, your foundation, and its ancestry. So you're clearing out karma, discovering things about your ancestors. You're revealing some things. This could be something that has to do with your foundation. Remember that the 4th house and Mercury is, you could be remodeling, redoing, reconnecting, like all of the words that has to do with family, home, foundation, real estate. Also, we have Pluto. Pluto is in your 8th house of your shared resources, having you go back over that area of your life of what do you share with others. This is alimony, child support. This could be investments that you've made, debt that you have. This is also the house of contracts that you have with other people through marriage or business. It's also the house of the occult and deep bonding. So you could be diving into or uncovering that maybe a grandmother from a 2nd generation ago has had the same skills that you are uncovering, or maybe you have this connection to this your ancestors now through your dreams, your intuition. It could be the spiritual realm of your spirit guides. This could be shamanic work. This could be past life regressions. All of this is Pluto transformation and going back inward, because that's what a retrograde is. Saturn at the top of your chart in the sign of Pisces is, okay, I need to have some boundaries because I'm now feeling everybody's feels. Neptune here is in its place where it wants to be in the sign of Pisces of a higher connection to my life's purpose. Neptune at the top of your chart is an opportunity for you to say, this is my career. This is my life path. This is my public life. This is who I am. Now, Saturn is here saying, okay, I'm receiving everything from everybody, and the lines are blurred about what am I connected to, who am I connected to, because it's way too much, way too fast. So now you're going to have this opportunity to take all these planets retrograde to go inward and connect the dots. We have a beautiful trine between your 12th house and your 8th house of shared resources and your home. So there's this beautiful trine of earthy energy of you need to ground in before you move forward with anything else. It's giving you an opportunity to say, Venus, who I love, how I love, what I love, a form of communication of maybe how are you communicating this with other people? Mercury retrograde is going to be having you go back into, I don't know, maybe I'm like this definitely has to do with genealogy, past lives, ancestors, 12th house themes of your intuition, your personal unconscious, you taking time out in order to process this. Remember that the 12th house is also the house of where it's hospitals where you go for healing. It's prisons where you have to go on like a timeout. So you can look at this also as, I need to take some time out for internal healing. Maybe you need to go to a retreat. Maybe you need to connect with a mentor or a guide or somebody who can help you internalize all of this that has expanded over your life and set over the past few months, these downloads of your abilities. And now say, in order for me to move forward, I have to internalize this and put some boundaries that are healthy. This will be a time that you're going to be reevaluating your beliefs. So maybe you've had this change of beliefs of what you did believe in, and now it's opened up your eyes to something new or a new opportunity. This will have you gain clarity on your purpose of, why are you receiving all this information? Why are you going through what you're going through? What is your overall purpose? This will be a beautiful time for you to internalize everything in order to reshape your new beliefs of your thoughts, your ideas. How can I use this to benefit others? What do I share with other people? Who is ready to hear it and who is not? Who can I connect up with? Remember that the North Node is in Aries. So the nodal shifts, the eclipses are going to be activated. So everything that's going on now until October 14th and the 28th is you focusing on a new direction of your goals, your hopes, your wishes, your dreams. And it's going to be about you, not piggybacking on with other people, but the focus is on how do you stay focused on your needs before you focus on other people's? How do you find this balance between the me and the we in your life? So for more on the upcoming months, please check out September and October's forecast. And to plan ahead, watch Destiny and Fate for your nodal shifts in your life. To hear updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Cancer Sun and Cancer Rising, Jupiter is in your 11th house of your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, the circles in which you associate with in order to manifest them. And so whenever a planet station or changes directions, its influence is emphasized. And so what's worth noting is that Jupiter stations retrograde just hours after Venus stations direct. So we have Venus in your second house of your self-worth, your cash, your property. Who do you value? Venus themes are now going to take this forward momentum, and your Jupiter themes are now going to slow down so you can internalize them. You're now going to care less about what other people think and more about what gives you pleasure. This is your self-worth. Who do you surround yourself with? This is going to be a time that you're going to be reevaluating your beliefs of what are your goals, what are your hopes, what are your dreams, who are you connected with on your life path? What are your aspirations? What are your relationships with your friends and your social circles? This is going to be a time that you're going to be reevaluating these beliefs because they're Jupiter themes, taking it inward and seeing whether it reflects with your own personal Venus values of your second house. When you have these personal values shaping your beliefs, there's this sense of clarity and purpose that it's now going to bring you because you're going to be internalizing everything. When society's beliefs shape your personal values, we feel lost, we feel unmotivated. That's why we're going to start with Venus. The focus is going to be on you and your self-worth, your cash, your property, for the themes of this. So I also want to bring in Mercury retrograde. So Mercury is retrograde in your third house. Your third house is the house of your relationship with your siblings, your neighbors. It's where you write and you journal. It's your personal spirituality. It's changes and fluctuation, and it's short distance travel. And so that has you going back over. How do you communicate with family? How do you communicate with neighbors? What are you writing and journaling about? How do you communicate with people that are at work about what are you sharing with them about what are your personal dreams, hopes, and wishes? That's an area where you are internalizing and going back over. We also have Pluto retrograde. Pluto is in your 7th house of your personal relationships. It's your marriage partner, your business partner, your clients, your one-on-one relationships. It's your best friends. It's the relationships where you have contracts that you've signed with other people. And so Pluto is having you transform that area of your life. Also going back over the shifts and the changes have you changing all spectrums of your life, from your partnership to your marriage to the way that you communicate. Now, Saturn is in your 9th house, retrograde in the sign of Pisces. Saturn is the foundation in which you build anything on, and Saturn wants a strong foundation built on following your intuition, and it wants boundaries around it. It wants you to expand, but it wants you to create the foundation first. Neptune is retrograde in the same house of your foreign people, places, food. It's you connected to spirituality, diving into religion, diving into philosophy, diving into publishing and advertising. It's the house of law, and it's different races and different cultures. And how are you changing, and what are you being exposed to? And it's what are you diving back into to try to understand? Saturn and Neptune in this house have you going back over your abstract higher mind and saying, my mind has been blown by these things that I have now learned. And how do I incorporate this? Because Jupiter in Taurus is your thoughts, your ideas, your spirituality. It's you dreaming of things, of what is out there and wanting to connect to it, but not exactly knowing what exactly it is. And so it's having faith in the unknown. And so now you're going to take all of this where you're going retrograde and going back in and saying, do I need to go back and review my notes for that class? Or do I want to review this before I take this? Do I want to connect up with these people? Do I want to re-travel here? Do I want to go back? It's going back over people, places, things, because now you are deciding, wow, those were goals, those were hopes, and those were dreams that I had. And now I have this new religion or new spirituality or new knowledge, or this, you've traveled somewhere and you've connected with people. And now this is new information of how do I incorporate what I now know with what I did know? Because now I have this higher knowledge. I'm more evolved. I have changed. And Mercury down here says I need to sit in one place for a little bit, and I need to connect the dots. I need to figure out a way that I'm going to internalize everything and say, who am I now? What are my dreams? What are my hopes? What are my wishes? What is my self-worth? Because Venus in your 2nd house is saying, I need to focus on me, my money, my finances, my skills, who I'm going to bring to me, my salary, my income, my possessions. What do I really value? My personal resources, my personal friends, my social circles. You are going to be looking at everything and saying, how does this change who I am? Because who I am is no longer who I was when this started. And it's about an explosion of all this great information that came at you all at once. And now taking the time to say, I need to incorporate it, process it, and see where things are. Now, I bring all of this up as a caveat to remember that the nodes are shifting into Aries and Libra, which is your career, your home, that there's going to be some major shifts because of all this new information. It's going to lead to a shift of where are you with your career? Where are you with your home or your family or your connection to your ancestors? This could be a diving into ancestral knowledge. And so that will have you focusing on you before you focus in on others with that Aries Libra axis. So for more on the upcoming forecast of September and October, please check out the videos, and you can plan ahead for using destiny and fate with the nodal shifts in your life. To hear updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Leo Sun and Leo Rising, we have Jupiter stationing retrograde at the top of your chart in your career sector. The 10th house is your career, your public life. It's how people see you. It's how they view you from afar. It's the government, it's authority, it's honor, awards. It's you in the limelight. And so there have been all these things, like you have gained all of these things. You have been out there. Everybody's been seeing all these huge shifts that have been coming to you. And so whenever a planet stations direct or moves directions, as in retrograde, the influence is emphasized. So what's worth noting is that Jupiter stations retrograde just hours after Venus goes direct. And Venus is in your first house of self. The first house is your personality, your appearance, it's your habits, it's how people see you, it's your skills, it's your income, of what you possibly can bring to the table. It's your sense of self, it's your identity, it's your happiness, it's your health. It is you, and with Venus, it's self-worth of how you look. And this could be turning over a new leaf with exercise, beauty, how you want to be known, how people see you, as in changing of a title with like mother or healer or any of those topics. Now, Jupiter stationing retrograde when Venus goes direct means that Venus themes all about you are now going to gain this forward momentum, and that the Jupiter is now going to take a back seat. So your career, your focus of how people see you is now going to take this back seat, and you are going to be in this limelight. This is going to be an opportunity for you to reevaluate your beliefs, your Jupiter, and see whether they're a reflection of your personal values, your first house of self. When our personal values shape our beliefs, we have this sense of clarity and purpose, and that's what you're looking for. When society's beliefs shape your personal values, you feel lost, you feel unmotivated, and so that's why we're going to start off with Venus moving direct. And so I want to bring in other planets that are retrograde that you are internalizing at this time with Jupiter. So we have Mercury in your second house of your cash, your property, your investments. Definitely is going to be a time that you're going to be going back over these things and saying, where do I spend my money? How do I budget? It's in this beautiful trine with Pluto. Pluto is in your sixth house of your mental, physical, spiritual health, well-being. How do you balance home? How do you balance work? It's also where are you of service to people and your pets. And so the sixth house is maybe you are have had all of this information come at you, and it's time to find a mentor or a guide, or since it's retrograde, it's maybe going back and reconnecting with a mentor or a guide, or being of a mentor or a guide to somebody. You also have Saturn retrograde in Pisces in your 8th house of shared resources. This is you looking over a fine-tooth comb, anything, alimony, child support, investment, taxes, debt, anything that you share with other people. This can be business partners, clients, or your significant others. This is the house of contracts that you've signed with other people. Now, Neptune is also retrograde in your 8th house of your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your aspirations, and where things can go. Just don't have the goggles on that you cannot see things clearly. You need to be able to get rid of the beer goggles or the rose-colored glasses to be able to say, I need to look over these finances to see what needs to be revamped in my life. So let's go back to your Jupiter. How are you taking all of this information and now you're going to internalize it? You have the way that you're communicating, your writing, your journaling, your finances, what you share with other people. How do you balance home and work? Who are your mentors? How do you take all of this in, and how does this reshape your personal values now of how you want to be known? This is your 10th house. This is the house of the legacy that you want to leave behind. This is an opportunity for you to go within, because you're shaping your beliefs and your values based on personal things. You're going to gain clarity and purpose by going inward and saying, where does all this affect me? And I need to reevaluate all of this with my higher knowledge, the classes. This is classes and workshops, maybe teaching of what do you want to leave behind, gaining clarity and purpose on your personal values, and it will have everything to do with you. You're a Leo rising. This is you using your voice to shine in the outside world, being a voice of authority when this retrograde is over. It's you taking in all this information and saying, I've got a lot to take in here, and how do I take it all in, process it, and use it for my career, my status, or my public image? All right, so for more on the upcoming month's forecast, please check out September and October's horoscopes. And to plan ahead, watch Destiny and Fate for the nodal shifts in your life. And to hear updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. All right, so Virgo Sun and Virgo Rising. We have Jupiter stationing retrograde in your 9th house. Now, the 9th house is the house of higher learning, connection to foreign people, places, things. And so when a planet changes direction, its influence is extremely influenced. So what's worth noting is that Jupiter stations retrograde just hours after Venus goes direct. And Venus is in your 12th house. Your 12th house is your dreams, your intuition, your spirit guides, it's secrets, it's the hidden house. And so Jupiter going retrograde when Venus goes direct means that your Venus themes are now going to gain this forward momentum, and your Jupiter themes are now going to take more of a backseat. It's going to be a time when you're going to care less about what other people think, and you're going to care more about what gives you pleasure. This is learning and traveling and higher knowledge and your intuition and following it. This is going to be a time that you're going to want to reevaluate your beliefs, Jupiter, to see whether they're a reflection of your personal values, your 12th house themes. Now, when our personal values shape our beliefs, we have this sense of clarity, purpose, and direction. And when society's beliefs shape our personal values, we feel like lost and unmotivated. And so that's why we're going to start off with Venus, your values. You valuing your intuition, your hidden side, the subconscious side, the shamanic work. The 12th house is your personal unconscious. It is where you go within to receive information through dreams or shamanic work or Akashic records. It's the spiritual realm. It's your subconscious mind of, I can go within to get the information I need, and I need to be able to follow this. And so knowing that, let's talk about all the other retrogrades. We have Mercury retrograde in your first house of self. So Mercury retrograde in the first house of self is the way that you're communicating. You're taking in all of this information and saying, I have these hiccups of what I'm saying, how I'm presenting myself, how people see me. The first house is your personality, your appearance. This is a time when you are going through a transformation of how people see you and how you communicate who you really are to the world. It's kind of like a rebranding of sort, and you're processing, what does that look like and how do I share that with others? Now, Pluto in your 5th house has you going back and restructuring your 5th house themes of, this could be affairs, your children, going back over childlike activities, art, music, creativity, things that you've created. So you're revamping or looking back over things that have brought you joy in the past, and how do I move forward with that brings me joy, but I need to change it or alter it or transform it in some way because I've grown, or the children have grown, or the project is over and now I need to start something new. There's this beautiful earth trine between your connection in the outside world with wanting to travel and understanding spirituality or publishing, with your first house of self and your fifth house of creativity. Remember that the fifth house is also your investments, it's affairs, it's sports, it's the house of whatever brings joy to you. And so those three houses are undergoing this transformation, and they're all working together and saying, let's work on this to shift it and change it, to change my beliefs, to reevaluate what I now think, my purpose in life. Now, you have Saturn in your seventh house of relationships and partnerships. And we also have Neptune. Neptune is your dreams, your intuition, and it's your faith and your hope, and it's your partnership sector. It's the house of marriage and business partners, your clients, your one-on-one. So this house is going under a reconstruction of sort of, who are your friends? Who do you trust? Who do you need to have boundaries with? Who is changing and evolving? Are clients changing? Now, this could be clients no longer needing your service, or now new clients are finding you. All of this plays into your Jupiter stationing retrograde, because now you're going to look at my goals, in which I personally I wanted to do. How do I communicate this? What brings me pleasure? Who are the people that I'm going to connect up with and sign contracts with, or partner with, or travel with? All of these things come into play because Venus is now going direct in your 12th house of, now I can tap into my intuition. I'm going to have more clarity of going within and saying, I shouldn't be going down that rabbit hole. I need to be focused on going inward and internalizing and incorporating all these changes and saying, what do they mean to me? How have they changed who I am? What my new goals are? Who I'm going to be connecting up with? That's what this Jupiter retrograde is about. It's about you taking this vast information that you've had, and now these experiences that you've had, and these exploration of people, places, things, everything that has now been mind blown to you, and now you're going to be taking it all in and saying, hey, how does this change me? Because it's changing my beliefs. It's changing my thought process. It's giving me this clarity and this purpose of what I'm supposed to be doing. Who am I supposed to be in this life? This is the direction in which I want to move. I want to add to this that the nodes are going to be shifting into your 8th house of shared resources and your 2nd house of your personal cash and property. And so this is you going back over, what resources do I share with others? And I need to focus on my wants, needs, and desires first before I take into consider anybody else's. And it's not selfish. It is putting myself first and going within, finding this opportunity to say, what gives me pleasure? What gives me joy? How does this shape my beliefs? And for me to find clarity and purpose as I move forward. So for more on the upcoming month's forecast, please check out September and October's horoscope videos. And to plan ahead, please check out Destiny and Fate for the nodal shifts for your life. And to hear updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. All right, so Libra Sun and Libra Rising. Jupiter is stationing retrograde in your 8th house. Now, the 8th house is the house of shared resources. It's your debt, it's your cash or property, it's the contracts that you've signed with other people. It's alimony, child support, it's also the occult, and it's the house of deep bonding. And so this house has been highly explored for you over the past several months. Now, when a planet stations or changes directions, its influence is highly emphasized. And so what's worth noting noting is that Jupiter stations retrograde just hours after Venus stations direct. Venus is in your 11th house of your personal hopes, wishes, dreams, and the circles and the contacts that you have, that you participate in to accomplish these things. And so this is your relationship with your peers, your shared beliefs. And so now Jupiter going retrograde when Venus stations direct means that Venus themes are now going to gain momentum. Your dreams, your hopes, your wishes, your focus, your goals are now going to gain this forward momentum. And now the Jupiter themes are now going to take a back seat, your shared resources that you have with other people. And so we care less about what other people think and more about what gives us pleasure. And so this is going to be a time for you to reevaluate your beliefs, your Jupiter beliefs of these thoughts and ideas that you have with these shared resources, to see whether they're a reflection of your own personal desires, your personal values of your 11th house. When your personal values shape our beliefs, we have a sense of like clarity and purpose. And when society's beliefs shape our personal values, we feel lost and unmotivated. And so this is why we're going to start with Venus and your values. So we now focus on, we have Jupiter going retrograde, the focus being Venus, your personal dreams. What are your hopes, your aspirations, your social groups? It's the clubs in which you network in. This could be personal work or work related that you are moving forward with. Now, that's where the energy is manifesting. And then we look at other retrograde planets of what are you internalizing. So we have Mercury in your 12th house. The 12th house is the hidden house. It's your dreams, your intuition, your spirit guides. It's the house of your shadow self. It's the house of hospitals or rehab or where we go to meditate. And so this has you going inward to say, I need to focus in on what it is, my spiritual realm or my subconscious mind. There is this earth trine between your 8th house and your 12th house of your dreams, your intuition, or your personal unconscious, and Pluto retrograde at the bottom of your chart that has to do with it's your familial house, it's your ancestors, it's your home, it's your real estate, your property, it's also your foundation in which everything is built on. And so there's some things that are going on. There's this perfect trine that these planets are all going retrograde and saying, let's uncover some things about our past. Maybe this is an opportunity to say, this intuition, it didn't just spring upon me. My grandmother also had it, or my great grandmother had it, or my grandfather, or this is an ancestral thing, or the transformation of home. With these shared resources and my 12th house, it could have something to do with the way that you communicate. Remember that Mercury in the 12th house is about, like the sun is here saying, I need to be organized, I need to be structured, and it's not about the 12th house. It's about the bare bones of things. Virgo is the sign of I need to take in what I've harvested to see what do I really need and get rid of things that I no longer need. And so with Mercury retrograde there, I really see you diving deep into something that has to do with like occult or astrology or tarot or shamanic work or Akashic records or past lives, and maybe diving into ancestry to connect with ancestors, or something that has to do with maybe property that has been passed down from generation to generation. I want to bring in one more planet that is retrograde, and that is Saturn. That is retrograde in your 6th house. This is the house that balances your home and your work and needing structure and boundaries. And Neptune, your personal hopes, wishes, and dreams, and the sign of Pisces where it really belongs. But both of them are retrograde. And how do you balance your job, your workplace, your health, and finding a mentor, finding a guide. The sixth house is getting back into an exercise routine, or making sure that you make your health a priority, or nutrition, focusing back on your daily physical routine or your health routine, your nutrition. It's also the house of relationship to coworkers. And so all of this is going under construction and has you going within to say, how do I incorporate all this new knowledge? How do I incorporate what is happening to me? I have all of this this knowledge coming to me with my dreams, or my intuition is spot on, saying this is what I should be focused on. And it has something to do with, connecting to ancestors, or it could be not only your spirit guides, but like twin flames. And how are we connected from one generation to another, or one spiritual realm to another. And these resources that you have, you're going to be reevaluating your beliefs, your Jupiter beliefs of what did you believe or what did you think could come from these shared resources or these contracts that you've had with other people. And is this still a reflection of your personal values? Because you're going to be gaining a sense of clarity and purpose about who you are becoming and what resources that you have available to you. Definitely dive back into what resources that you have that are shared with others. Go over them with a fine-tooth comb, and it doesn't have to just be written. These can be contracts that you have with others. They could be friendship contracts. These could be business contracts. It could be marital contracts. This could be contracts that you have through your work or through mentorship, and definitely things that have to do with your home. You're going to be gaining clarity on you. What are your personal hopes, wishes, and dreams, and how are these things changing what you want to do moving forward? I'm also going to throw out there that don't forget that we have this nodal shift going on in October 14th and the 28th with the eclipses, and it will be affecting your seventh house of partnership and your first house of self. And that this is the precursor of what is going to occur ahead of time, so that your focus is on who am I and who am I with partners. Who am I? Who am I with clients and significant others and people that I sign contracts with over the next 18 months? All right, so for more on the upcoming forecast, please check out September and October's horoscope videos, and to plan ahead, watch Destiny and Fate for the nodal shifts in your life. To hear updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Scorpio Sun and Scorpio Rising, this Jupiter stationing retrograde is in your seventh house of partnerships. It's the house where you sign contracts with others. This could be business partnerships, significant others. This is also the house of friendship, and it's the house of partnership where we have clients with one-on-one. I always call it the +1 house. It's not just romantic relationships, but it's your social contracts that you have with others. So when a planet changes direction, either stations or retrogrades, its influence is definitely emphasized. And so what's worth noting is that Jupiter stations retrograde just hours after Venus stations direct. Now, Venus is in your 10th house of career. It's your legacy. It's you in the public life. And so, hallelujah, now you're going to have some things moving forward in that area of your life, of my career, my legacy, my life path. It's you being in the public eye. It's going to be you reevaluating what are your beliefs, your Jupiter beliefs, and leaving behind some of those beliefs to see, do they focus on your Venus? Because Venus's direction is going to be gaining momentum, and Jupiter stationing retrograde, meaning it's going to be slowing down, and there's going to be less of an outward influence on it. It's going to be more of an internal influence. So you're going to be reevaluating your beliefs to see whether they're a reflection of your personal values for your career, for your job, the legacy of what you want to leave behind, and how you want people to know who you are. When your personal values, they shape our beliefs, and when we have this sense of clarity and purpose, and when society's beliefs shape our personal values, we feel lost, we feel unmotivated. And so that's why we're going to start with you and your career and your personal values. So I also want to bring in the other retrograde planets that you're going to be internalizing at this time. So Mercury retrograde is in your 11th house. So the 11th house is your personal hopes, wishes, dreams, aspirations, the groups and the networks in which you socialize with in order to accomplish them. You are literally going back over and saying, who do I combine with? Who do I network with in order to get my needs met with this is what I want to do. You're going back over your networking system, your words, the communication style. Now, I want to bring in Pluto also because there's this grand Earth trine between your partnership, your dreams, and your third house of communication. The third house is not just communication, but it's your neighbors, your siblings. It's the house of fluctuation and change and travel. And so Pluto is taking this house and saying, we're gonna go through a total overhaul of the way that you communicate. Who do you communicate with? Whether it be through family or with siblings or with your neighbors and with you closer to home. This is also the house of your personal spirituality. And so all of this is working together to shape and change and alter your personal values. I want to bring in Saturn, which is retrograde in your 5th house of children or affairs, or it's the house of love affairs and art and music and creativity. It's the house of giving birth to something, which could mean projects. And so Saturn is you wanting to do these things, but saying, what have I done in the past that's brought me joy? How do I build a foundation that I can continue or build something new from it? Neptune is you can dream it, you can manifest it, you can believe it. And so this in the 5th house of Pisces this can be your investments, this could be affairs, this could be your personal creativity with, I want to do these things. They brought me joy in the past. How do I take these things and move forward with them? All of this retrograde energy has you internalizing everything, reevaluating what are your beliefs on what did partnership look like? What did business partnership? What did your friends and your social circles? What about your clients? What gave you pleasure before? And now, is this a reflection of who you are and your personal values of who you are now becoming based on this new knowledge? You're literally taking inventory of what you want to do in life. How do you want to be known in life? What brings you pleasure? How do you build a boundary around it in order to get the Saturn things that you want? It's building something that will last, that's long lasting, and building a strong foundation over it. You want to have clarity and you want to have purpose. And there's going to be a transformation over these areas of your life. And your Mercury is going to work with your Uranus, and your Jupiter is going to work with your Pluto and say, let's bring it all together and revamp these areas of our life so I can have clarity and purpose and reshape my personal values about me and my partner, me and my connection to others, me in the outside world. I need to be doing things that bring me joy every single day. I need to be creative, and in what capacity can I be creative? I need to transform the way that I speak and share these things with the world. All right, so for more on the upcoming month's forecast, please check out September and October horoscope videos. And to plan ahead, watch Destiny and Fate for nodal shifts in your life. To hear updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Sagittarius Sun and Sagittarius Rising, Jupiter, your chart ruler, This is stationing retrograde in your 6th house. So the 6th house for you is mentorship, getting a guide or a mentor. It's your daily habits. It's your balance between work and home. It's pets. It's your workplace. It's coworkers. It can be sickness. It can be your service to your volunteer work. So knowing that's going retrograde, understand that when a planet changes direction, the influence it's emphasized. And so what's worth noting is that Jupiter stations retrograde just hours after Venus goes direct. And Venus is in your 9th house of foreign people, places, things, the house of publishing, the house of travel. And so now this is you with saying, this is higher education, spirituality, religion, philosophy. I'm ready to move forward with these things in my life. So Jupiter stationing retrograde when Venus goes direct means that the Venus themes are now going to gain momentum, and Jupiter is now going to take a backseat. So now you're going to care less about what other people think, and you're going to care more about what gives you pleasure. This is going to be more about you wanting to connect with other people, you wanting to travel, you wanting to understand or dive into publishing, advertising, philosophy, religion, your dreams, your visions. This is the house of cross-cultural experiences. And so you're going to care less about what other people think and more about what gives you pleasure. It's going to be a time that you're going to be reevaluating your beliefs to see whether are they still a reflection of your personal values of you in the outside world, because now you've had these experiences with others and that's changed you at your core. When your personal values shape your beliefs, you have this sense of clarity and purpose. And when society's beliefs shape our personal values, we feel like lost and unmotivated. And so that's why we're going to start with Venus and your values. So we have Venus and what you want to do, you traveling, you connecting with others, you connecting with these cross-cultural experiences in the outside world and saying, I want more. I want to have knowledge of this. Now, I want to move to the grand Earth trine because we have several planets that are retrograde that you're going to be internalizing all at the same time. Mercury is at the top of your chart in your career sector, how people see you, how you're communicating, your job, your career, your life path, your public image, and that is in trine with Jupiter in your how do I balance my home, my work, how do I work and get organized with this, how do I structure this so that my daily tasks are manageable. We also have Pluto in this grand Earth trine, and Pluto is restructuring your 2nd house of money, finances, cash, property, your self-worth. And so all of this is working together to say, I need to go back over with a fine-tooth comb these areas of my life to say, do these themes, do they jive with me? Are these still my beliefs? Do I still really want this? Do I still really desire this? We also have Saturn at the bottom of your chart with your home life, your ancestors, your real estate, these are traditions, and Neptune is also here in the sign of Pisces and wanting a form of what is tradition? How do I change tradition? How do I make it my own tradition? Do I have to always do what's been passed down from one generation to another? Can I break this karma? Can I create my own? Why, yes, you can, because all of this is retrograde saying, look, take it inward. Take the positive that's from it and break anything that's no longer serving you and saying, I'm going to leave that part behind. I need to incorporate, what does work mean to me? What does my home mean to me? What have I taken from my native land or my ancestors? How can I incorporate this? How can I incorporate this to reevaluate what are my new beliefs? Because I have been exposed to new. This is going to be a reflection on your personal values. It's going to be you reshaping your values, your beliefs, your thoughts, your ideas remember that Jupiter is seeing the bigger picture, but not really seeing it. It's about having faith and hope that it's out there and wanting to believe in it and saying, I have to go within. I cannot take in any more new information until I've processed this and incorporated it into my life and made it a daily task, made it daily that I can follow through with it, that it's not just a fly-by-night. Where you have Jupiter, you also have Uranus, and this has been the house that's been totally shook up and changed. And now you need a time to take it inward and process these change before you move forward again. I want to bring in one more thing because of this is leading us up to the eclipses. Remember, the eclipses are going to be on the Aries Libra axis, which is your fifth house of what brings pleasure to you. Is it children? Is it gambling? Is it art? Is it creative? It's the house of what do I want to give birth to? Do I want to give birth to a project or art or music, or I want to be able to connect with somebody. I want to have an affair with somebody. I want to remember that the fifth house is it's the house of sports. It's the house of recreation. I need to be able to get out there more. I need to have more joy in my life. That's going to be the focus of your life for the next year and a half. And everything that you're doing now is saying, there's all these changes. I need to incorporate them, process them, digest them, make them a continual habit before the eclipses occur start on October 14th and the 28th, because Aries is the focus of, I need to be focused on me, not on the we. I need to make sure that my needs are met first before I focus on others. And so for more on the upcoming month's forecast, please check out September and October's horoscope videos. And to plan ahead, watch Destiny and Fate for the nodal shifts in your life. To hear updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Capricorn Sun and Capricorn Rising, Jupiter is stationing retrograde in your fifth house. Now, the fifth house for you represents anything that brings you joy and pleasure. It's children, it's childlike activities, it's sports, it's music, it's art, it's affairs, it's gambling. Literally, the fifth house is your social mobility. It's your self-expression of, this makes me feel good. And so you've had a lot of changes to this house over the past several months. And whenever a planet changes direction, its influence is emphasized. And so what's worth noting is that Jupiter stations retrograde just hours after Venus goes direct. And Venus is in your eighth house of your shared resources. The eighth house is other people's money. It's alimony, child support, debt. It's other people's opinions. It's insurance. It's private affairs. It's basically, it's hidden things that we don't know or that we have shared through contracts with other people. And they can be business contracts or they can be personal contracts that we have with other people. It could be like private affairs that we just don't share with other people. And so knowing that Jupiter going retrograde when Venus goes direct means that Venus themes, your eighth house themes, are now going to gain momentum, and that Jupiter is now going to take this back seat to it. You're going to care less about what other people think and more about what gives you pleasure, but in the shared resources theme. This is the time when you're going to reevaluate your beliefs, Jupiter, and see whether they're a reflection of your personal values, Venus. And so when our personal values shape our beliefs, we have this sense of clarity and purpose in our life. When society's beliefs shape our personal values, we feel lost and unmotivated. That's why we always want to start with your values, your Venus, your things that you share with other people. So I want to bring in that that Jupiter stationing retrograde is also in a trine with Mercury in retrograde. Mercury is the way that you communicate, how you want to travel, thoughts, ideas. and it's organized and structured and detailed. And these are like hiccups with you traveling, and this is you going back over and saying, I need to go back over and I need to study for this class, or I want to go back and visit that place, or I need to, it's about publishing, it's about advertising, it's about religion and philosophy, it's cross-cultural experiences, and it's about a reconnecting to some of these things. This also is Pluto in your first house of self. How is all of this transforming who you are at your core? Pluto says, break it down to the basics, and let's make sure that I only am taking with me with what I need. I am focused on moving forward, and there's this beautiful grand trine, and it has to do with, what are your beliefs? What brings you pleasure? What brings you joy? How are you going to manifest this? How are you going to travel to connect with this? Two more planets that are retrograde are Saturn. Saturn is in your third house. This is the house of communication. It's your relationship with your siblings, your neighbors. It's early education. It's news. It's changes. It's fluctuations. It's the house of siblings and cousins and language and writing. And so in the sign of Pisces, retrograde is it's needing boundaries around it. And Neptune is your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, and some kind of you going back over, having these rose-colored glasses or beer goggles on with, these are my hopes, these are my dreams, and how do I communicate this? So with all of this information, it's you saying, I'm taking it all in. The way that I communicate, I need to have a solid foundation. If I'm taking classes and workshops, I need to go back over and finish the work before I move forward. If you're teaching something, I have to go back and check and double check the notes. I have to look over these things before I move forward and teach it or publish it. The Saturn and the Neptune is, these are my dreams, but my dreams are changing, and I need to build this solid foundation with what I want to do and move forward with, because it's going to represent who you are. Pluto in your first house. Jupiter here is just having you take all of this information in and saying, look, I'm a Capricorn rising. I can do this. I'm used to slow and steady. I'm used to pausing before I make a decision. I need to totally figure out what brings me pleasure and not just do this because somebody else wants to do it. I need to be focused on of what makes me happy. Is this a reflection of my beliefs? Is this are these my values? Because things are being reshaped, and I'm now gaining clarity and purpose over the next few months of all the information that you're taking in. You're basically taking everything in and repurposing it and saying, this is a lot going on all at one time. I need to take it all in and say, okay, I'm going to have some boundaries with this over here. I want to build this solid foundation over here. This no longer serves me here, and I need to move forward with it because this is restructuring who I am. I want to bring in two more things. The nodes are shifting into your fourth house and your 10th house. So this could mean like a move. This could mean like a new career or a new shift with career or job or a new home or doing something to your home. I say this because with all of this growth going on, it's going to change who you are at the core of wanting to connect with your personal values. And this is what's leading up to the eclipse. And we have all of this energy saying, I'm going to support you with this, move forward with it, take it, internalize it, and focus in on not what society wants you to do. What is it that you want to do? What is your life's purpose? All right, so for more on the upcoming month's forecast, please check out September and October's horoscope videos. And to plan ahead, watch Destiny and Fate for the nodal shifts in your life. To hear updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Aquarius Sun and Aquarius Rising, Jupiter is in your fourth house. Your fourth house is your ancestry, your family home, it's your home environment, it's anybody who lives in your home with you, it's your traditions, it's your real estate, it's your foundation. It literally is everything that, and it's been going through an overhaul for several months now. The eclipses hit it at the beginning of the year. Like, this house has been just totally transformed for you. So whenever a planet changes direction, stations, goes retrograde, its influence is emphasized. And what's worth noting is that Jupiter stations retrograde just hours after Venus stations direct. And so Venus is in your seventh house of your partnership. Now, this could be business partnership or significant others. It's also your one-on-one with your clients. It's the house of open enemies, but it's your romantic relationships. It's your clients. I always call it the 1+1 house. And so now Jupiter going retrograde when Venus goes direct means that Venus themes are now going to gain this forward momentum. So now these themes of partnerships or relationships or your friends or your clients is now going to take this forward momentum, while Jupiter, things that have been going on at home, is now going to take this back seat. You're going to care less about what other people think and more about what gives you pleasure. This is going to be a time that you're going to reevaluate your beliefs that have to do with your home, your family, your traditions, your real estate, and you're going to see whether they're a reflection of your personal values. Because when our personal values shape our beliefs, we have this sense of clarity and purpose. And when society's beliefs shape our personal values, we tend to feel lost and unmotivated. And that's why we're going to start with Venus and your values. So we have this connection to going inward and wanting to take in all and process all of this expansive things that have happened to you with knowledge, wisdom, spirituality, traveling that have had to do with your home. And how does that help us connect up with others, with your significant other and your business partner? Now, there are other planets that are retrograde. I want to draw your attention to this trine. Mercury is stationed retrograde in your eighth house of it's the house of shared resources. It's your debt that you share with others. It's your contracts, whether they be business or partnership. It's alimony, child support. It's anything that other people's money, other people's values. It's taxes, inheritance. It's also the house of deep bonding, and it's the house of the occult. And so this is in a trine working with but it's having you go back over these contracts, like with a fine-tooth comb, making sure that you've not missed anything. And then we have Pluto. Pluto is in your 12th house. The 12th house is the hidden house. It is the shadow. It's your dreams, your intuition. It's the subconscious mind. It's the Akashic records. It's the spiritual realms. It's shamanic work. And so possibly, are you going back over traditions or ancestral lineage and saying, this has been with us for a long time, I need to transform this, I'm ready to get rid of this karma, I'm ready to move on past this. Taking this all in and saying, I've dove into the spirituality of this, or I know where I got this from with this family member, or I see a pattern and I'm ready to move on past that pattern. Now, Saturn is also retrograde in the sign of Pisces. Saturn is, I need to build this solid foundation. And what does it look like? It's in your second house of your self-worth, your cash, your property, who you surround yourself with, who do you bring in your inner circle, who do you value that would be in that trusted area. Now, Neptune is also retrograde in the sign of Pisces. This is what I hope, this is what I wish, this is what I dream, and making sure that you don't have like on the beer goggles or the rose-colored glasses, because it is retrograde. And it's, are you seeing things clearly? Are you looking at them through what you want to believe or what you truly know is there? All of this retrograde is having you go back and say, look, there's some things going on from my past, from my lineage, from my ancestral DNA that I'm ready to clear out the karma through Pluto. Now, is this people that have been with you from one generation to another? Are these twin flames? Are these your spirit guides that are there with you? All of these are opportunities. Remember that the 8th house is not only the resources that you share with other people, it's also the house of the occult. And it's diving into this to understand what is really going on. And if it's not that, then you definitely need to be looking at contracts or money or shared resources that you have with people in this present lifetime. Because Venus being in your 7th house of partnership, she's now ramping up and moving forward. All right, so for more on the upcoming month's forecast, please check out September and October's horoscope videos to plan ahead, and check out Destiny and Fate for your nodal horoscope shifts that are in your life. To hear updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Pisces Sun and Pisces Rising, Jupiter is stationing retrograde in your 3rd house. The 3rd house is communication. It's through your siblings, your neighbors, it's short distance travel, it's everything that goes closer to your home. It's about acquaintances, it's changes, it's everything that's going on. This house has undergone a major change in your life in the past several months, like huge overhaul. So when a planet changes direction, its influence is emphasized, and you have Jupiter stationing retrograde. So what's worth noting is that Jupiter stations retrograde just hours after Venus goes direct. Venus is the ruler of Taurus. And so Venus is in your 6th house of mentor, a guide, pets. The 6th house is your workplace. It's mental health, physical health. It's where you exercise. It's your daily habits. And in the sign of Leo. Hallelujah. So now with this, Jupiter going retrograde when Venus goes direct means that Venus themes are now going to gain this forward momentum. So your health, your mental well-being, your daily routines, everything is now going to start to move forward. And this could be with mentors, guides, finding a balance between work and home, while Jupiter is now going to take this back seat and go inward with its gaining knowledge, gaining wisdom. So I want to bring in the other retrograde planets because this is a lot of retrograde to have introspection. We know that with Jupiter taking a backseat, we're going to care less about what other people think and more about what's going to give us pleasure. This is going to be a time that you're going to want to reevaluate your beliefs, which is your Jupiter, the way that you communicate, writing, journaling, traveling, and see whether it's a reflection of your personal values now. Venus, how do you incorporate this into your daily habits? Now, when our personal values shape our beliefs, we have this sense of clarity and purpose. When society's beliefs shape our personal values, we feel lost, we feel unmotivated. And so that's why if we start with Venus, our values, and incorporate all this backward retrograde, you will understand what's going on with your Jupiter. All right, so I want to first look at Mercury. Mercury is retrograde in your 7th house of it's your +1 house. The 7th house is your clients. It's your 1+1, your business partner, your significant other, your friends. It's the house in which you have it's your one-on-one relationship that your social contracts that you share with other people. So Mercury retrograde, maybe you're looking back over contracts that you have with a business partner, or maybe signing a prenup, or looking over, this could be maybe clients no longer needing your service, or new clients coming to you needing your service. This is in a beautiful trine, meaning it is working with this Uranus. It is part of the story. We also have Pluto in your 11th house of your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your aspirations of what you want to do, and the social circles in which you're going to connect with in order to get what you want or get what you need. All of this retrograde is working together with, I need to transform who I'm hanging around with, who I'm connected with in order to elevate my goals. Jupiter's going to be taking this back seat. And so this is about reshaping your personal values. This is a sense of clarity and purpose that's going to be coming to you. You're going to be focused on what gives you pleasure and how do you now change this for what you want to do in your life. You have Saturn in your first house of self and Neptune here. Now, Saturn, look, as a Pisces, you're watery, you're intuitive. You probably feel everybody's feelings. And this is about your hopes, your wishes, your dreams. Neptune in your first house of self, yes, but focusing only on your own and having a clear space of you can identify what is mine, what is theirs, what is mine and what is yours, and quit taking on everybody's everything. This is going to be a time where you have learned how to clear out your energy. This is going to be a time where you have a good way to communicate. Like, this is spirituality. This is identifying your cross-cultural experiences that you've had with other people, your connections that you've had with other people, and how they are shaping and changing you. And this is going to be a time where you're going to take in partnership, relationship, your friends. They're going to go through like an overhaul or a change, your goals, and who you are because of more boundaries, because you're reevaluating what are your beliefs. All of the things that have happened to you over the past 6 months has you reevaluating what truly gives you pleasure. A reflection of what are my personal values? I did value this, and I did hang around with these people. I did offer this service, but now I no longer feel that way. Now I've had a change of heart. Now I need to change or alter some things. It does not mean like get rid of everything. Sometimes it means expanding your services or expanding who you are. It's basically reshaping and giving yourself a sense of clarity and purpose of who you are at the core, so you can move forward with who you are meant to become for your higher self. With this third house, everything is going to have, this is about you being at home and practicing on a familiar environment and your neighborhood and saying, I need to sink in right now. I need to not be out there doing all kinds of things. I need to take in everything that's happened to me, from partnership to my health to my groups that I participate in, because I need to be focused on my dreams. I need to be focused on everything that has to do with who I'm, these boundaries, these healthy boundaries of who I am changing and becoming. What does my higher purpose want for me? I want to bring up the nodal shift that's going to happen in October that's going to be activated by the eclipses, because it's going to activate your second house, your second and your eighth house. So your second house is you, your self-worth, and your eighth house is that you have with other people, your shared resources that you have with other people. And so all of this is leading up to a focus on you, a focus on your higher purpose. What do your guides want for you? Are you tuned into what you want, what your beliefs are? Are you connecting with clients or friends or partners that reflect your personal values? Uranus has shaken and rocked your world, and Jupiter has exposed you to all of these abstract, higher mind, prophetic dreams and visions, and these cross-cultural experiences that now you need to take it in because your world is bigger. And now you have to have this faith and this hope that I'm going to go inward, I'm going to process everything, and that who I come out in the end is going to be better. And it's going to be a reflection of who I am, who I was meant to be, my higher self. All right, so for more on the upcoming month's forecast, please check out September and October's horoscope videos. And to plan ahead, watch Destiny and Fate for your nodal shifts in your life. To hear updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe.